All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling a massive roadblock that pretty much all of us have hit at some point. You know the feeling, trying to figure out how to actually follow through on those big personal and professional ambitions without just totally burning out or losing our way.
So think about it for a second. Have you ever gotten super pumped to learn a new skill? Maybe it's a new language, a complex piece of software, or even learning guitar. You buy all the gear, you queue up hours of tutorials, and you kick off with absolute burning enthusiasm. But then, poof, motivation vanishes halfway through. Trust me, you are definitely not alone here. It is a universal experience. But we gotta ask, why exactly does this keep happening?
Well, in a world literally overflowing with distractions, we inevitably hit these things called friction points. It's like a domino effect when we don't have a clear direction. First, things get blurry and we lose our way. Then, we get completely overwhelmed by the sheer mountain of things we think we need to do. Because we're overwhelmed, we stop tracking our progress, so we can't even tell if we're moving forward. And the end result? Yep, we just quit early.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the trap of vague goals, what are SMART goals, breaking down the framework, real-world skill development, common mistakes to avoid, and finally, building systems for success.
Okay, starting off with Section 1, the trap of vague goals. I want to improve my skills. Sounds incredibly positive, right? Well, actually, scratch that. It's the ultimate trap. It's just this vague intention that completely lacks the real-world structure you need to make it happen. I mean, it doesn't tell you what to do tomorrow morning or how to measure if you're actually getting any better. It's not a plan, it's just a wish. Which brings us to Section 2. What exactly are SMART goals?
SMART is actually an acronym, and it's a total game changer for goal setting. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. By filtering your ambitions through these 5 criteria, you ensure your goal isn't just some fleeting thought. It gives you laser-like focus, sustainable motivation, and built-in accountability. Essentially, it turns a wishy-washy idea into a highly clear roadmap, forcing you to answer the what, the how, and the when way before you even begin.
All right, let's get into the weeds here. Section 3, breaking down the framework.
Starting with the letter S for specific. Look, a vague goal leads to vague results. If you just say, I want to improve communication skills, that's way too broad. Communication is a massive umbrella. But the SMART approach hits the nail on the head. I want to improve my public speaking skills for presentations. See the difference? You have to ask yourself exactly what you want to achieve so you completely eliminate the guesswork. Next up, the M, measurable. There's an old business saying, if you can't measure it, you simply cannot improve it. Saying I want to get better at Excel is basically running a race with no finish line. How do you know when you've won? But if you say, I will complete 3 Excel tutorials and build 2 dashboards, boom, you've got a hard metric.
And there are so many tangible ways to track this stuff. You could measure the raw number of hours you've practiced, the total courses you've finished, the physical projects you've built, or even the amount of feedback you've received. Finding that right metric is absolutely crucial for keeping your momentum alive day after day.
Moving right along to A, which stands for Achievable. Ambition is awesome, for sure, but setting totally unrealistic goals is just a recipe for burnout. I will master Python in 7 days is a guaranteed way to feel miserable by day 8. Instead, I will learn Python basics in 30 days is realistic. The whole point here is to stretch yourself, not to break yourself.
Then we've got R for relevant. This is where you ask the so what question. Why does this matter to me? Learning random stuff is a fun hobby, but it won't necessarily drive you forward. A SMART goal ensures you're learning things that directly boost your career or personal growth. Before you commit, ask yourself, is this actually going to move the needle for my long-term vision? If the answer is no, you might want to pivot.
And finally, the T stands for time-bound. Listen, without a deadline, goals inevitably become someday tasks. And let's be real, someday is a day that never actually shows up on the calendar. Instead of vaguely saying, I'll learn graphic design, draw a line in the sand. I will learn Canva basics in 2 weeks and create 5 designs. Deadlines create that spark of urgency that gets you off the couch and into action.
Okay, let's put it all together. Section 4, real-world skill development.
Let's walk through a real-world conversion. Step 1, the vague goal. Improve presentation skills. Step 2, we inject our specific measurable actions. We're going to practice 3 times a week, record it, and review it. Step 3, we slap a hard deadline on it for the next 30 days. Suddenly, that cloudy little idea is a clear, actionable mission.
And the best part? This works for literally anything. Want to improve communication? Speak English 15 minutes a day for 60 days. Tech skills? Knock out a Python course and 2 projects in 45 days. Need to be more productive? Do the Pomodoro technique for 4 hours a day over the next 21 days. These little mini narratives prove the SMART framework just fits perfectly into any domain.
Moving on to Section 5, Common Mistakes to Avoid.
Because yeah, even with a rock-solid framework, you can still trip up. A massive mistake is setting way too many goals at once. You gotta ruthlessly focus on just 1 or 2. Forget to track? Shift to a weekly measurement habit. No review system? Take the time to reflect and pivot if you need to. And maybe the biggest one, unrealistic expectations. Just remember that choosing steady progress over flawless perfection is the secret to staying in the game.
Bringing it home with Section 6, Building Systems for Success.
Think of these pro tips as the daily gears that keep your machine running. Break intimidating goals down into bite-sized daily actions. Use a habit tracker. Honestly, there is something wildly satisfying about physically crossing a day off a list. Review your week to make sure you aren't drifting off course. Celebrate those small wins to keep the dopamine flowing. And above all else, just be consistent. Showing up every day beats being perfect any day of the week.
I want to leave you with this absolutely brilliant quote. Goals give you direction, but systems give you results. A goal just tells you where you're driving, but the system, that's the engine of the car. When you build SMART goals into a daily system, you stop relying on sheer willpower. Growth stops feeling so overwhelming, and success basically becomes inevitable.
So what does this all mean for you right now? I'm challenging you. What system will you build today? Grab a pen, take just one vague ambition, and run it through that SMART framework. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I seriously can't wait to see what you build.